I read the article, and I read the script. This guy did a heroic deed, but he ends up getting blamed for the actual crimes. It was a great American screw-over.
When you said Richard Jewell, people didn't say the hero. They remember him as the bomber, and he wasn't the bomber. And that's what the whole story's about and what really Clint wants to get across.
There you go.
And we really had a lot of questions for Clint, kind of like, why did you want to make this movie? What do you think it's telling about American culture in 2019?
It shows how with just a small amount of information can turn into a nightmare.
The FBI is looking at Richard Jewell.
I haven't heard him talk about a movie like this in a long time, where he wanted to do it so badly.
I just kind of went after it. It did happen. It could happen again. It could happen to anybody. I just wanted the real victim to get some sort of relief. The truth is put out there.
Thank you for doing that. I wanted to do this movie because it was a Clint Eastwood movie. I grew up watching him. I've always wanted to work with him.
When I heard he's gonna do this and he wanted me for this part, I just flipped.
The joy of recreating is an actor's dream. You get a great appreciation for what the real person's life was like.
Doing a true story is such an honor. It's important to just capture the aura of someone and what they're after. So I had to kind of mute my own presuppositions and feelings and really turn on my good old boy in the film.
When you play someone who's a real person, you really get a glimpse of their life.
It was a devastating event for them, but it's also a story of incredible courage.
Whenever you're dealing with an actor-director, you immediately get a lot of compassion from them. He's really like trustworthy with you.
And he gives you a long leash, and he really wants you to interpret.
They don't yell action, and you'll see them go like this. You won't hear any of the ADs or the PAs screaming, you know, rolling, rolling. And that's because in the days of doing the Westerns, if you did that, it scared the horses.
It's like playing jazz. Yes, there's a script and there's dialogue, but he lets it go a little longer to see who's going to do something special or different or something that's going to make a scene.
But there would be other times where Clint would be like, all right, that was a lot of dialogue. And I'd be like, well, you didn't yell cut, so I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep living it. We had a lot of laughs over that. And maybe we found some good material by goofing off and trying stuff. You go add some gas to the fire, son. How hot do you want it?
Clint really wants to have as much reality in these films as possible.
All of us have studied hundreds of hours of footage of the real event. I wanted to recreate it exactly, especially the footage outside of Bobby Jewell, this crazy handheld footage, put the audience right in the middle of the crowd.
We play a little bit with the cameras, with the Alexas, and we have a Betamax look of the 90s. So we shoot these scenes like that, and with the same kind of square framing, so it's going to be easier to match them.
Well, we put lines in it like you were looking through a camera. We give you the feeling that you're out there amongst the crowd.
You're going to feel you're in there with Richard Jewell. You're in that mess, and it's horrifying.
Some serious both about the traffic situation and also since Centennial Olympic Park.
They're all after me now.
When you set, design, and you create the environments for each one of the characters, you're telling a story.
Clint really wanted to shoot exactly where it happened, and that's what we did. We actually shot at Bobby Jewell's apartment complex for all the exteriors.
Centennial Park is the focal point of the film. It's where all the drama begins, and it's a very important character in the film.
Filming in Centennial Park has been quite a challenge. We came up with a plan of, okay, the stage will go here, this is what we want to do. We came up with the dates, but then the hard part was, how do we build all of this?
Having Rebecca, who had been the event planner on the original Centennial Park venue, was a godsend.
I got a phone call. They said that they were working on this project and they needed some help to be able to recreate a smaller scale of the AT&T stage. Based on its design, it's a little bit more of a rock and roll application than it would be a scenic application. So we got a team together and went through the drawings, made a couple of revisions, came up with a schedule, and then put the thing in.
We're at a third scale to the real stage, and the pavilions that live behind them, they look like big sails. But the cool thing is that at night, we have all these lights on those just like they did, and it really gives a sense of realism to what we're doing.
that when I got down there, it was a park. It was the exact same, and it was almost in the exact same positions.
And I think because of the set design and because of the exactment of everything, everyone from the crew to the background actors to myself, we were all feeling those sort of eerie vibes. To watch people duck down and scream and cry out and drag their loved ones off of the grass covered in blood, it was just so harrowing.
A lot of the background were there at the time. They knew the history and they loved it. And so many people would come up to Clint and hand him little things and say, oh, this was a badge or this was a hat I had. They were so generous. They were very excited about us filming there.
I remember being in Centennial Park, looking out over the crowd of people. There's senior citizens and young people, faces painted, and the city of Atlanta showed up and really serviced that scene, and I can't imagine doing that just anywhere. Atlanta was Atlanta in that scene. And I think if my performance is any good in that scene, it will be 100% due to the fact that we had the support of the city of Atlanta.
Shooting a film that takes place in 1996, there's a specific look in cars and in clothes and in haircuts and how people look.
It all has to be organized, for sure. We had 600 extras, and we dressed a core group of them. At that particular time, the clothes are loose and baggy. The jeans are fuller cut, high-waisted, and actually a lot of it came out of my closet. We've done a couple movies around that period, so I have collected a lot of clothes. We also go thrifting, and you add it that way as well.
I think the time period was definitely perfectly recreated. It was fun putting on fanny packs and donning a mustache, and it was a kick to even see them. It was a bit of a time capsule on screen.
We're always trying to make things like you're actually there.
Clint was mandated us all to make it as real as possible so the audience goes on this journey with all of us.
That's what you're always striving for, realism all the way down the line.
That's real.
You did good.
Hey, it's Lisa here. Did you know that the first picture to sweep all 5 major Academy Awards, winning for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director and Best Screenplay, was Frank Capra's It Happened One Night from 1934. The second movie to do the same was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from 1975. Do you like my t-shirt? You can get one for yourself in the description below.